What's up? Welcome back to Zandemonium. And I recently saw the new DC movie out, Superman. It's been a lot of, I don't want to say controversy, but there's been a lot of love, there's been a lot of hate, and I just wanted to see it for myself. I'm primarily a Marvel fan, but I just like a good superhero movie, and I'm definitely a fan of James Gunn, so I had to come see this after watching what he did with the Guardians of the Galaxy, what he did with Peacemaker, what he did with Combat. What's that? Creature Commandos on HBO Max. I knew I had to go see what he was gonna do with Superman. Before I get into the review, though, I've never been a huge Superman fan, and here's why. I love Batman though. Batman is probably my favorite character, and the Flash. I would say that I don't have a lot of knowledge on the DC universe. Definitely not as much as I do with Marvel, but I do like a good story. Like one of my favorite stories from DC was Court of the Owls, and shout out to my brother Matt. He's a huge DC fan, so I'm gonna have to check with him, see what he thought about this movie. But getting back to it, I've never been a huge Superman fan, and the reason why is because he always felt like he was overpowered, like he couldn't be stopped, like he was the one to come in and save the day all the time. It wasn't too much struggle. Don't grill me in the comments, because I know that there's storylines where we did see that in the comics, but it just felt like the only plot device that they had with Superman was kryptonite. And spoiler alert, like in this movie, they also use kryptonite, but that's the reason why I didn't really like Superman that much. He just felt like he was always overpowered. So I went to go see the movie. First of all, I love the way the opening started. A lot of people didn't like the dialogue, but it just really caught us up on what was going on, get us into the movie. We didn't need to see another origin story of Superman. That's something that we don't really need to see from a lot of well-known superheroes. Like, don't give me 20 minutes, 30 minutes of origin story. Unless it's a character that we've never seen adapted to the big screen. But Superman, we don't need to know that. We know he came to Earth, his home planet was destroyed. He grew up in Kansas. James Gunn quickly got us past all that. First thing you see is Superman beat up, towed down, can't hardly breathe, blood coming out his mouth, and we see a vulnerable Superman. I got excited soon as I saw that. And then we get Crypto, the dog, which was a great character. I didn't really know a lot about him from the comics. I didn't read a lot of Superman comics, so you can fry me on that. But Crypto came right off the beginning. He was a great character in the movie. A dog that's playful, don't really know what's going on in the scene, just want to play, even though Superman is battered on the snowy banks of Antarctica. And we see him get dragged by Crypto to the Fortress of Solitude, which was great. I love the way it looked. We get to see the Superman bots. They had, character, but still was AI. They didn't make it seem like they were human beings. They were still robots, but they still had a little bit of character. And we see right off the bat that this Superman from the Yellow Star, which is in our solar system, he gets revitalized and he's ready to go right back into battle. I love that it showed his vulnerability. It showed that he can be presented with a challenge. And so then we go to where he's he's not fully healed. He's about 80% healed. Then he goes back to the city to fight villain that he's fighting, the Hand of Bavaria. These two countries were fighting, and we saw that in the dialogue. But he hurries back. He's still getting beat up. And then we find out that Lex Luthor is a part of this whole scheme, and we get him, introduced to him as a character, as a villain. Top notch villain. The way they show Lex in this movie, we know that he can't beat up Superman. We know physically he can't beat up Superman, but the evil intentions that he has towards Superman, the obsession that he has with Superman, gave him the ability to be able to predict all of Superman's moves, because he just hated him so much that he was able to use Ultraman, which we found out was the hand of Bulgaria to kind of like a video game give commands to Ultraman to beat up Superman. So of course he didn't come back and save the day right off the bat. He still got beat up. Lex just decided to show mercy on him, and it was all part of a scheme. But to more of the reasons why I love this movie, I love the color of this movie. I know a lot of the superhero movies started to become dark and black and grays and a more dark, sinister theme. But this felt fun, man. Just like what I envisioned James Gunn would bring to a movie like this. All the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, great soundtracks, and this was a great soundtrack as well. I felt excited to be in the movie theaters. We got introduced to other DC characters, and one of the characters that pretty much stole the show, which I want to see a lot more of him, and this is what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy as well. I know I keep referring it back to that, but I think it shows level of depth that James Gunn can do as a storyteller. A lot of people didn't know about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Matt, he didn't really know a lot about Guardians of the Galaxy. We went to see that movie. He came out. He was a fan. He wanted to know more. I felt this way watching this Superman. I knew a little bit about Mr. Terrific, but I didn't know a lot. I just saw it online and I looked it up, but his portrayal on the big screen, it made me want to dig up comics just to see, like, man, what was his origins? What stories did he go through? I wanted to know more about Mr. Terrific. It was great. The T-Spheres, we got introduced to a Green Lantern, just knowing that there's different types of Green Lanterns. Look, I'm a Marvel fan, so y'all got to educate me in the comments, but I'm really not too familiar with the Green Lantern Corps as far as the different members, but it made me want to dig up comics and read more about this particular Green Lantern. Hulk Girl, I think she did great. I wish she would have had a little more screen time. I think it was sufficient because it's still a Superman movie at the end of the day, but I really like the Justice Gang, and then it's setting up the Justice League. Like, this is James Gunn's kickoff to a new DC universe, and I'm excited for it. I've watched DC movies, but I skipped out on Black Adam. I think I only watched one Shazam. I started the newest Flash. I tried. I could not finish it. The recent Batman I thought was good. I'm interested to see if they will use the same actor. James Gunn probably won't use the same actor, but that's another video. This movie, though, it made me excited for the DC universe. As a big-time Marvel fan, I got the posters and I got comics and all that, but it made me excited about the DC universe. Another thing that I like about this movie is that it didn't take itself so serious. It still has some light moments, but it also has some very deep emotional moments. The interaction between Superman and his parents from Kansas, that was big. It just make you feel like connected to Superman as a human, like his humanity was showing. Even with the fight thing that they let off in the city, and then the Justice Gang, I forgot the name of it, but the Justice Gang came to help. Superman was more concerned about the people than the Justice Gang. He wanted to make sure that nobody was hurt, no collateral damage, even at the expense of him losing that advantage in the fight. I felt like that was good. Like, it was a scene where he saved the squirrel and, okay. But he was very concerned about all the people. And I think that just showed a level of humanity with Superman. The reason why I like this movie better than The Man of Steel, and I know it's a lot of Zack Snyder fans, it just felt like a comic book movie, if that makes sense. The lightness of it, the color, the music, the soundtrack, the costumes. I mean, that's a point right there. The costume for Superman, it looked like the comic books. It wasn't made to fit like a dark gray scale uniform to make the whole movie gritty. I just love that I had a good time with it. One of my favorite moments in the movie was Mr. Terrific when he went to the secret camp and they were looking for Superman, in that fight scene with the soundtrack. We see that as a meme, and TikToks everybody's making content about that. Like, that was a great moment, and that's signature James Gunn. Like, we knew in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, like, we were going to get at least one of those scenes in each of the movies. And I was hoping that I saw it in Superman, and he delivered. He delivered big. He made me want to pursue more knowledge about a character that was never on my radar, Mr. Terrific. I mean, he had the swag, he had the costume was on point, the technology, even the dialogue that he had, it wasn't campy, it just felt natural to that character. And I felt the same way for the Green Lantern. You quickly learned who these characters were, kind of like their motivations. I know one of the criticisms of this movie, and I saw some, was that this is a Superman movie. Why do we have all these other characters and we're talking about this and all the dialogue between other characters without Superman? He is setting up a whole universe. He is setting up the blueprint to expand this whole DC universe, and I felt like he did a great job. I really felt like he did a great job. I'm excited about what's to come. Let's get back to Lex Luthor. That scene at the end when he gave his monologue, I felt like it connected me to him as a villain, man. It's one thing that you have to have for a superhero movie is a strong villain. And just the contrast between Marvel and DC, Lex did not die in the first movie with Superman. We know we're gonna see Lex again. His motivations, his connections, the brain power that he has, the technology he has, we know they're not going to be able to contain Lex. And he's going to find a way to manipulate the society again. I really felt like he was a strong villain. One of the things that makes a strong villain is a villain that is self-aware. He knows his motivations. He's not crazy. He's not going after something because he, like I said, like he just went crazy. He's not after necessarily for the wealth. Like he got that, and he can pick up some more, but he genuinely can't stand Superman for everything that he stands for. When he made the comment about him being an it and not a man, you can feel that, how he is everything different from what Superman stands for. And I'm excited to see more of him. I felt like the actor did a great job for Lex. The other villains, Ultraman was cool. I saw a thread that said that it would have been cool if Henry Cavill was Ultraman. That would have been crazy. But we might see Ultraman again. I know in the comic books that he was a big character. Well, I don't know if we'll see him again, but I really love Lex as a villain. He's gonna return. Man, James Gunn is slowly pulling me over. I'm excited to see. Now, I haven't even checked the timeline on what other projects. I know that he's going to do a season 2 of Peacemaker, which I love Peacemaker. Creature Commandos, I hope that they have a second season. But yeah, this was kind of just my thoughts about the movie. Like, if you haven't seen it, go see it. Like, don't let nobody influence you, whether they say it's good or bad, whether you take what I say as it being a great movie or not. But I had a great time. I enjoyed it, loved it. Can't wait for the DCU to expand. Hopefully Fantastic Four, my MCU, they get it together. It's looking rough right now, but Superman has to have the MCU and Disney just in a tailspin right now because they delivered. I'm excited to see what happens next. And that's it. If you would just like, subscribe, do all that stuff. I do a lot of content on just pop culture and movies, all that. Love MCU. But that's it. See you next time. Peace.